Hi guys, this is Mike from Spank and I'm here to show you a few tips on how to set up Spank's UBA rims for tubeless use. First thing you've got to know is some wheels are going to come tubeless equipped, such as this Uzi Trail 395. You can see it's pre-taped for you and tubeless valves are inserted. These come right out of the box, throw on a set of tubeless ready tires, a little bit of sealant and they're good to go. Tubeless ready wheels and rims, on the other hand, have to be prepared for tubeless use. So if you're custom building up a set of wheels with a set of rims, or you buy a set of tubeless ready wheels, there's a few steps you have to take. The first thing you have to know is the traditional rim strip that comes on your rims or wheels is not meant for tubeless use. This is simply to protect the tube in tube applications from the spoke holes. So the first step is to take off that rim strip. Once your rim strip is removed, the first step you should do is cleaning the inside of the rim with alcohol or a similar cleaner. Try to avoid cleaners that might leave a residue on the rim. At Spank we suggest to use a thin polyamide tape such as our Fratelli tape because it's going to conform better into the complex grooves of the UBA profile, and if you tape over the bead bite ridges, the tubeless bead hooks on our rim, they're still going to protrude through that thin tape and you're not going to lose that function. Choosing the right width of tubeless tape is going to help things go a lot smoother. Spank offers two widths, a 25mm and a 30mm Fratelli tape. 25mm tape is suggested for rims with a 29mm inner width or less, while 30mm tape is suggested for rims with a 30mm inner width or more. Since we're taping up a Spike Race 33 with a 28mm internal width, I've chosen a 25mm tape for this job. What you're going to want to do is tape 2 times all the way around the rim. There's enough tape inside of one roll of Fratelli tape to do 2 29-inch wheels, so don't worry about running out. Try not to touch the tape too much. Try not to get any oily fingerprints on it, anything that's going to keep it from sticking very well. I like to start taping just a few inches ahead of the valve hole, and you start all the way to the right side of the rim. Be careful that you get right up to the vertical flange, and then press out all the air bubbles, making sure there's a nice adhesion between tape and rim. You can see how I've gone all the way to the vertical flange on the right side. As you go, keep a moderate tension on the tape. You don't want to pull it too tight. Now as you approach to finishing the first revolution around the rim, what you want to do is cross over to the left side of the rim and then tape all the way around in the same way, right to the vertical flange. What this is going to do is it's going to leave the tape double thick in the center where you're going to put your valve hole, with a single layer on the 2 sides to create a nice thin seal between the tire and the rim. Now that we've completed 2 complete revolutions around the rim, all the way to the left and right side, we're going to cut off the tape cleanly. Again, be careful not to touch the tape, get too much of your oil and grease from your fingers on it. And then simply inspect all the way around the rim, making sure the tape is pressed into all the grooves fully and adhered to the rim everywhere. Try to eliminate any large air bubbles you see. The next step is to put the valve hole on the tape. You can either cut the valve hole with an X-Acto knife, but I prefer to use a sharp pointed tool, and preferably even to heat up that sharp pointed tool so you get melted edges on the hole, making it a little bit stronger. It's time to put the tubeless valves into your tubeless wheel set. I'm using here a Spank tubeless valve. We have a brass type. It's a little more robust, a little less likely to break when you're out on the trail, and with a conical natural rubber base. Again, locate your valve hole and insert the tubeless valve into the valve hole slowly, carefully, trying not to rip or tear that hole you made in your valve hole. Once in, we press firmly to create a seal and turn on that lock ring about as tight as you can get it by hand, while pressing firmly down on the rubber base. Now that your wheel set's taped and valved, it's time to mount the tires. You're going to want to make sure you have a clearly marked tubeless ready tires. What I like to do is put the wheel completely into the center of the tire. Always double check that the orientation or direction of the tire is correct, so it's spinning in the right direction, and then start to mount the first side bead over the rim. Tubeless ready tires are going to be a little tighter fitting than some other tires. That's a good thing. It's going to help to create a seal against the rim It's also going to make inflation a little bit easier. But sometimes mounting is a little bit tough. With Spank rims, make sure that that tire bead, as you're putting it on, is all the way down in the lowest point, the center trough of the rim. And that's going to make it a little looser fit as you're putting it on and allow you to just sneak that bead over the edge. Then we turn the rim and we do the other side. So your tire is mounted to your wheel, valves inserted. We're ready now to add your tubeless sealant. To insert the sealant, the most convenient way normally is to use a valve core remover and take the valve out of your valve stems. Shake up your sealant vigorously, and then we insert the full 60 milliliters of tubeless sealant into the rim. Now that we filled the wheel with sealant, it's time to put the valve core back into the valve stem. Tighten it snugly. One trick sometimes you can use with older valves, if you're trying to reuse them, is to dip your valve and your valve core first into sealant. That'll help to create a seal. With a brand new valve like this, the O-ring should create a perfect seal though. Once we've replaced the valve stem, now we want to spin the wheel and get sealant spread through the whole thing. You can spin that flat, vertically, all over the place. Try to get that sealant spread around nice and even. Okay, at this point we're ready to start inflating the tire. When inflating tubeless tires, especially for the first time you're mounting them, it's highly suggested that you wear ear protection and eye protection. And now we're going to pump up to well over what we'd normally run our tires at. Normally it takes around 40 psi or so, but go in incremental steps. Check to see that the bead marker on the tire is at an equal distance from the outer bead of the rim all the way around. So I can see most of the way around the rim already at 30 psi. We're up in the bead seat. However, there's one or two spots here where the tire hasn't quite jumped up yet. And then we're going to keep inflating until the entire bead jumps up into the bead seat. You can hear that audible snap. That's the bead jumping into place and clicking into the bead bite ridges on this tubeless rim. So we've got our wheel inflated to about 40-42 psi. We've heard an audible snap as the beads jumped into place. We inspected the tire one more time to make sure that the bead marker is an even distance from the flange all the way around both sides. Yep, looking good. So our tire is now mounted in place. What we want to do now is one more time, give the rim a couple of spins, just make sure that the sealant spreads around everywhere, it's evenly dispersed all through the tire, and it's going to fill any tiny little imperfections or leaks that might have developed. Okay, we're back. Tire's been sitting for 2 hours. There's no notable loss of pressure. Still sitting probably around 40 psi. We check around the tire, make sure there's no sealant escaping anywhere. Nope. Listen for any audible hissing. Seem pretty good. So we followed all the steps properly, and this tire's set up first try, ready to go. Next we're going to go through a couple of troubleshooting steps if you find that your tires leak.